Every changer in Super Sentai has its own unique concept and design for each season. Last time, we talked about phone-type morphers, and today we're diving into weapon-type changers, specifically sword-themed ones. Actually, there are quite a lot of them in Super Sentai, but in this video, we'll skip the ones that are only used for power-up modes. So, let's get into the list. First up is the Bull Riot sword from Seiju Sentai Gingaman. This sword belongs to Hyuga, passed down from the first Black Knight, or as you might know him in Power Rangers, the Magna Defender. In the original version, this character never had a morpher. Instead, he used a sword as his main source of power. In fact, the Bull Riot sword doesn't have any buttons or extra items, which means Hyuga doesn't need any flashy gimmicks to transform. He simply pulls out the sword, raises it into the air, and the Bull Riot begins to release energy that magically transforms him into the Black Knight. As his primary weapon, the Bull Riot can also turn into a blaster by attaching it to its sheath and twisting the sword's handle in the opposite direction. Yup, it's really simple. This is the most practical changer in Super Sentai, even when compared to the standard changers from other seasons. Ninja Ichibanto. Shuriken Sentai ni Ninja. The Ninja Ichibanto is the first sword-type changer officially used by the core Rangers. It's a truly all-in-one device featuring three main functions: transforming, activating various Ranger techniques, and calling upon their Zords, also known as Otomonin. To transform, the Rangers insert their transformation Nin Shuriken into the slot on top of the handle. After pressing the red button, they spin the shuriken, and the henshin sequence begins. This is quite different from Ninja Steel, where the Rangers used a specific morpher to transform while still keeping the sword for other functions. The Ninja Ichibanto is essentially the Rangers' most important device. In addition to its three main functions, it also serves as a controller for their Zords, whether piloted individually or in their combined form. Overall, the Ninja Ichibanto is one of the most practical changers out there, as everything the Rangers need is combined into a single device. This design not only made filming much easier, but also significantly reduced merchandise production costs. Ohger Calibur. Osama Sentai King Ohger. This sword is used by each Ranger as a symbol of authority in leading their own kingdoms. Its main functions are to control the Shugod and of course to serve as their transformation device. The Ohger Calibur was created by Jan Magast, the Blue Ranger, together with a team of scientists from Enkosopa, his kingdom. As their changer, the Ohger Calibur doesn't require any additional items. To transform, Jira and the others simply need to press or pull the lever and the buttons on the handle. There are 5 buttons, each representing one of the 5 kingdoms. This type of changer is also used by the 6th Ranger of the team, but his version has a different mechanism. Jeremy, as Spider Kumonos, uses a spider-themed sword, and he must activate it using a special key. This makes his changer the only device that requires an item to use. So basically, the Rangers barely have any other items besides this sword, making the Ohger Calibur a very important device that the Rangers cannot afford to lose. Houou Blade, Uchu Sentai Q Ranger. This changer is used by Tsurugi Otori as Houou Soldier. Instead of using a blaster like the other Rangers, Tsurugi uses a sword as his transformation device. It basically consists of a sword and a shield that can be connected together. To initiate the morph, Tsurugi inserts his Q-Tama into the slot on the sword, pulls the trigger, and then pulls the sword out of the shield. As a primary weapon, this changer is quite flexible, especially since it's equipped with a shield at the same time. Tsurugi also uses this changer to summon his Zord. He essentially does the same process. He inserts the sword back into the shield, pulls the trigger, and then draws it out again. These patterns are also used for other functions, such as performing his finisher, or giving commands to form different robo combinations. Uniquely in the story, this changer was created by Tsurugi himself after he discovered the Houou Q Tama, which makes it stand out from the other changers in the series. Gaisoul Ken, Kishiryu Sentai Ryu Soldier. In this season, the Rangers primarily use their swords to activate various power-up armors. However, there is another version of the sword that functions as a transformation device. This sword allows its user to tap into the power of the Gaisoul armor, an ancient suit created millions of years ago by a scientist named Valma. As the main changer, the Gaisoul Ken works in the same way as the swords used by the 5 core Rangers. To transform, the user inserts the Gaisoul key into the dinosaur mouth above the handle, and the armor automatically attaches itself to the user's body. Unfortunately, anyone who uses it ends up losing control and falling under the influence of evil. However, in the future, a new user named Nada manages to control its power and actually uses it for good. King Gaburicalibur. This weapon is basically a modified version of the standard Gaburicalibur used by the Rangers in Kyoryuger. The King Gaburicalibur serves as the main transformation device and sidearm of Prince, the King Kyoryu Red. This new character appears in the King Ohger season, and his Ranger form looks a lot like Kyoryu Red's Carnival mode, just with Kuwagata Ohger-style armor. At first, Prince used a regular yellow Gaburicalibur, but it broke when he used it to fight an enlarged Zorima. Luckily, Yanmagast managed to fix it and upgrade it into a red version. Functionally, it works pretty much the same as the one we know from Kyoryuger. Prince inserts his Zudenchi totem into the slot, pumps the lever, and then pulls the trigger to start the transformation. Personally, I think the red one looks much cooler than the yellow. But what do you guys think? Leave your comments below. Ninjak Sword. Avatar Sentai Dawn Brothers. This one's kind of tricky to explain, because it's not exactly a changer. The Ninjak Sword is basically another form of Don Murasame, or you could say it carries his consciousness. Don Murasame is never shown to have a normal civilian form. He's an artificial ranger created specifically to fight the Juto. So, whenever he shows up, he slowly emerges from the sword. The Ninjak Sword is essentially a redesigned version of the Zangla Sword, and it also has a few extra functions besides just being a weapon. By spinning the gear on the handle, it can perform an alter change and even an avatar change. Considering all that, I think the Ninjak Sword definitely deserves a spot on this list. Yep, because Don Murasame appears from the sword most of the time, or at least alongside it, rather than just popping up on his own. Tegasword. Number 1 Sentai Gozuja. The Tegasword is essentially a right-hand gauntlet sword with a blue blade. It comes in 2 versions. The gold one, used by the 5 core Rangers, and the silver one, used by the Universe Warrior Red Ranger. Both versions work the same way when used as a henshin device. The user simply inserts a ring into the slot on the gauntlet, performs a few claps, and then the henshin sequence begins. There are no buttons on the device, which means the rings are the only items the Rangers need throughout the show. What's really cool is that this changer also acts as the base form of their main robo. A giant Tegasword appears when summoned and then transforms into a humanoid robo with different formation options. Basically, the Tegasword has 3 functions at once. It's a changer, a main weapon, and the main robo all in one. They've actually done something similar before, as seen with the X-Trains from Lupin Ranger versus Peito Ranger. Sai Blade. Juken Sentai Geki Ranger. This last one is a little tricky, and honestly it still fits into the Tegasword category since it isn't fully shaped like a sword either. The Sai Blade is basically a changer shaped like a karate hand, but with a small blade attached underneath. It is used by Ken Hisatsu, the Geki Chopper, as both his changer and his main weapon. At certain moments, the Sai Blade can be powered up by attaching the Super Geki Claw on top of it. This changer doesn't come with any extra items, there's literally just one button for transforming. However, there is a slightly confusing aspect. During transformation, Ken usually uses the Sai Blade in its standard mode instead of its blade mode. But overall, judging by how it works and how it's used, I think the Sai Blade fits this list much better than the other changers, such as the Gear de Ninja from Kikai Sentai Zenkaiger. Alright guys, that's all for today. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.